You never know when disaster will strike. Don't count on your government to save you. The 20-year-old Watcher Society has hardcore information you will need to survive what's coming. The Watcher's Prophecy News is for you. Come hear my outstanding commentary on the end of days, government cover-ups, and blind deceptions, even evil tyranny exposed. We're not going to let Satan deceive another life if we can help it. We do Bible prophecy in the news with your host, me, Mars of the Watcher Society. Tune in every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on www.kdov.us for these groundbreaking revelations. I have epic information for your mind. Now, dear listeners, the title to tonight's show is Hillary's March to War. It is a serious topic. I recommend you buckle your seatbelts. It might get a little bumpy. Now, this information I have right now is not confirmed, and it probably never will be. But we're almost sure in our source and what is currently official by now. According to the Gateway Pundit, Secretary of State John Kerry demanded the Ecuadorian ambassador in London to cut off Julian Assange's internet, as we know, earlier this week. WikiLeaks released one of the two codes needed for the dead man switch. The second one, had Julian actually been confirmed deceased, would have exposed Hillary before the election, and he still may have the means to do so. WikiLeaks tweeted the development on Tuesday. Now, they also said the Secretary of State John Kerry asked Ecuador to stop WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange from publishing these linked emails that could disrupt peace negotiations with a guerrilla group in Colombia. Well, it's probably a little deeper than that. We actually threatened them. Assange, who has been in refuge in Ecuador's embassy in London for more than 4 years, seen his access to the internet cut over the weekend. We know that there are many serious things about Hillary still, and she must be exposed for who she is and her current stands. Her quick thinking to march to war. Now, as you know, Hillary created ISIS. It's been proven. Now is deeply engaged in a scorched earth policy. Jihadists torch these oil wells now all over Iraq, around Mosul. And as the, quote, allies advance on Mosul, if you want to call these allies, you know, it's ridiculous us taking Mosul and then just giving it back to ISIS. It was planned this way. It casts, to me, a apocalyptic pall over these fleeing refugees. Many of these are just children. They really don't know any better yet. Haven't came to the age of any kind of accountability in our innocence in this conflict. And the powers that be should have some mercy on these people. They're not. They're doing the same scorched earth thing that defeated Saddam did in 1991. Now, the terror group's fighters have begun setting these fire to oil wells as they carry out these scorched earth tactics. It's a method used to minimize the visibility of any pilots, and ISIS are being currently bombarded with airstrikes, even from American B-52s. It has a striking similarity, in my mind, with the end of 1991, the Gulf War, as Saddam troops did the same in Kuwait. Hordes of civilians have been fleeing the area as the battle to capture Mosul intensifies. ISIS radicals have begun setting fire to oil wells as they carry out scorched earth tactics, and these currently are adding up to about 1,000 dead a day. Yes, that many. These images showing smoke flying in the sky have already been compared to the tactics used in previous wars, but now adding the fact of their advanced weaponry, many things are about to change. Now, I predicted several shows back that they would do this and also bust the dam that they've taken back from the Spanish security team that was guarding it several weeks ago. They will also have it mined and ready to burst, either as or after the civilians are gone. Depends on their mercy level. They don't seem to have any. This will be the water breaking, and the signal in prophecy that the birth pains have ended, and now there's a birth. The birth of the war, the Gog War, 1/3 of all life. Now, I'm not here to scare you tonight. I say that often, but you need to be presented with the facts of the current news of the day. I'm attempting to show you some things that you're probably not hearing in mainstream media. I'm not going to debate the rapture here tonight either. That's another topic altogether, and we will get to that. But I'm going to tell you that as Quaker man myself, that if the rapture in Christ if it comes midway through to save mankind who are saved already into the body of Christ, then everyone gets a taste of the judgment of nations and the trial by fire of the church in the later day, as Paul mentioned. But understand, Hillary Dillery, is taking us on a course, should she win, that is, that only pure evil would pick as a human. So yes, you heard me. If you pick Hillary, I do believe that you are not a good Jesus-loving Christian for what she stands for and believes. Christians don't believe those things. I said it. You can turn me off right now if you want to, but you're going to want to hear what is next, I bet. Now, Hillary Clinton is, by the way, also a secret sexual offender, in my opinion. That's pretty deep. But she has paid fixers. This is just the level of corruption, trying to explain the level of corruption here, to set up illicit romps with both men and women. That's the blockbuster revelation right now, coming from former Clinton family operative who is sensationally breaking ranks with his one-time bosses. Speak to both the National Enquirer and Judge report in a bombshell 9-page cover story on newsstands that will be hitting probably today or tomorrow, maybe yesterday. Look them up. It's very well known former CIA ex-employee who is likely now to be subpoenaed even by Congress, and he's decided to let it all rip and tell everything. Bound to be one of the biggest hits she has had on her yet. He says, I arranged a meeting for Hillary and a woman in an exclusive Beverly Hills motel. The man, who was hired by the Clintons via a Hollywood executive through national security contacts, was hired to cover up their scandals, told now on front page of Drudge. She had come to the studio to see the filming of a movie in 1994, the fixer said, and when I was there, I helped her slip out a back exit for a one-on-one session with another woman in a limousine. It was made to look casual, leaving quietly rather than being caught up in this melee, but really, it was for something presumably more sordid. I knew the truth. It was obvious. What's more, it isn't just Hillary's flings with these women that show the shadowy Mr. Fix-It and everything that he is breaking and has to work straight. Hillary's former bagman finally confessed to just how he helped her to cover up her affair with married lover Vince Foster. Didn't think they were lovers? Well, you're wrong, they were. No one knew. Yet this is also very much rumored and has been for a long time, but now proven by witnesses. A shadowy figure, this former FBI agent who provided proof of his employment for the Clintons, also revealed 12 fixes he covered up, including how Hillary secretly plotted to counterattack Bill's mistress, Monica Lewinsky, via a document buried for 2 decades. See, these things just keep surfacing on her. Her insider trading scandal on cattle futures, hiding and shredding her law firm billing records, her illegal use of thousands of FBI personnel files in political opponent funds, her use of the IRS against political opponents, her Asia fundraising scandal, more than 4 dozen convicted in fundraising scandals, more than 4 dozen in her inner campaign circle. Think about that. More than 4 dozen in her inner campaign circle. Whitewater, a large savings and loan failed. Several people went to prison. Travelgate, White House travel office firings, crony capitalism scandal. Selling a night in the Lincoln bedroom for political donations. She stowed $190,000 worth of china, rugs, furniture, TV, and other items when they left the White House. When she was exposed for stealing all of these things, she paid back only $86,000, calling the loot gifts. She wasn't going to pay anymore. She vandalized and trashed the White House and executive building before leaving. Hillary is not who you think she is. Vince Foster office sanitizing of the crime scene and death cover-up. Thousands of national secrets already linked through private email servers. Clinton Foundation was an open checkbook for foreigners to curry favor back and forth through the Clinton Foundation. This lady is a lowlife, and all of this is just terribly absurd. Probably not telling you anything that you don't already know right now, but I'm about to get something to make my point, Hillary's march to war, that you're not going to forget anytime soon. Where she deducted Bill's own underwear on an itemized 1991 tax return. Really? Bill's dirty underwear, I had to itemize that. Decorating the White House Christmas tree with homosexual and sodomy ornaments that were later given to the Girl Scouts of America. I have this on file, by the way. Her order that military personnel not wear uniforms in the White House. She misused and abused Arkansas state troopers and emptied their children's trust fund. She verbally abused Secret Service agents and FBI personnel with constant profanity and remarks, and even making them stand childishly in a corner. Tell you what, I graduated up to a job like the Secret Service and I have to stand in the corner. Something's wrong. FBI and Secret Service details report she used the N-word, referring to Jesse Jackson, and told a U.S. black general, 3-star general, that he was nothing but one of my cotton pickers. Really? That makes me angry! Others report she used the term Jews were all creepy, thieves and nasty, and the Arabs always smelled better than Netanyahu. It's out of Hillary's mouth. We've got her. She's a convincing political sleaze who scripts and quips with a professional quip man. Garner Deacons, who is a former debate team winner there along with Billy Clinton. You may have heard of him. She ordered Fallon terrorist pardons to garner New York votes. She refused to release her 2008 tax returns. She publicly threatened to demonize opponents of her health plan. She hurriedly these slurs of anti-black and anti-Semitic slurs that, as First Lady, something that had very little class and indeed was hurtful for our nation. She covered up and enabled Slick Willie's adultery and sexual harassment. She has intimidated even her husband's victims. She's used her own position as Secretary of State to funnel hundreds of millions into her own foundation, much of it from nations that treat women and gay people worse than dogs. Well, I'm sorry that they have not seen the light. But your just can't go treating everyone like they are not your neighbor when they are. All this for her goes way back. She defended a man who raped a 12-year-old girl, and recalling the case, in my mind, she laughed about getting away with it. Not once, but twice on national television. Maybe I could understand a Freudian slip once, but laughing about a 12-year-old being so brutally raped, getting away with it. She was fired by Jeffrey Zephyrin, a Democrat, general counsel and chief of staff of the House Judiciary Committee during a Watergate proceeding, and then asked why in an interview. He said because she is a pathological liar. She was an unethical, dishonest lawyer. She conspired to violate the Constitution, the rules of the House, the rules of the committee, and the rules of confidentiality. You know, you've got to understand where she is coming from and the decisions that she is about to make that are going to affect you greatly. Now, the Clintons' Swedish slush fund, $26 million collected overseas with very little accountability and lots of questions about whether corruptions and contributions into this fund from neighboring countries that she has done business with, Secretary of State, got also a pan, gold pan, like skillet, that was given to her, and you wouldn't believe it, from Mexico. The pan alone, this gold skillet, I wouldn't cook in it, but it's solid gold. It was estimated to be worth $60,000 for a skillet. Also, her 1993 healthcare program dripped of the same unethical dishonesty and generated a 1997 lawsuit by the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons. It cost the taxpayer $285,000, never went anywhere, and now her national model to replace Obamacare with the exact same payer system as Canada, and has even asked Mexico as Secretary of State to do the same. The Amero, here we come. She is a serial liar. She has definitely been exposed. Her rush to war is unqualified. We're going to get to that. That part of this show is next. And you're not going to want to miss those things that she is going to enact upon us. She is a serial liar about removing documents from Vince Foster's office. She lied about his murder and that of 62 others that have a close record with her. She's lied about the location of Rose Law Firm billing records. She's lying about being instrumental in the Irish peace process. She's lying about being a Yankees fan. She's lying about always being broke. She's lying about being named after Sir Edmund Hillary. She's lying about being shot by sniper fire in Bosnia. She's lying about instrumental in the release of refugees in Macedonia. She's lying about Chelsea jogging around the World Trade Center on 9/11. She's lying about 3 of her grandparents being immigrants. She's lying about the Benghazi attack being a result of a anti-Muslim video. Also, the fake black accent, the fake southern accent, and now these lying, twitching eyeballs. She's lying repeatedly about the email scandal. She is a criminal. Let's not forget, she has 5 hidden gold accounts in the Caymans. She has 2 bank accounts in the Bahamas. She has a private yacht that was paid for by the government of Oman. Her insider trading scandal on cattle futures, hiding and shredding her law firm billing records, her illegal use of 1,000 FBI personnel files of political opponents, her use of the IRS against political opponents, her Asia fundraising scandal. More than 4 dozen were convicted in her fundraising scandals, by the way. Whitewater, large savings and loan. We know all about Whitewater. She vandalized and trashed the White House and executive office building before leaving, including raiding all the kitchens for food, saying that there were 4 huge vans loaded up when she left. This is just stuff that belonged in the White House, not her stuff, just White House stuff, you know. The Vince Foster scandal being among the worst. Many don't know they had a torrid affair. She's got crooked reporters that are on the take from the Clinton camp. She's paid off reporters and at least 3 of Bill's females. She is for bank bailouts. She is for corporate bailouts. She is for increased domestic surveillance. She is for increased military spending. She is for executing Edward Snowden. She is for expanding the definition and use of torture. And she is vowed to open every FEMA camp to unburden U.S. systems. Really? What are those systems? Yeah, she's going to do it. Now, you understand she's made it clear also that anyone is fired if they cross Mr. Soros, or any person that's in her campaign will just be fired. Now, he covered up Bill's speedy romp with call girls. This was George Soros. And a squad that has been appointed to Bill, that Bill now also has a, quote, fixer man. He's also a former FBI operative. A-list celebrity has a secret affair with Bill during his presidency, and believe it or not, when you find out who, you are going to go literally insane. It's a CNN anchor. Hillary is a deviant, and to me, she has the spirit of the Antichrist and is a clear pick by the globalists. She is power hungry and corrupt to the very bone. She said 19 times in public she hates Russia and Putin, and would, since Soros is currently wanted by Russia, would do anything to end them so Soros could achieve the ultimate goal of his globalist mission that she is on hardcore and that she supports. She supports taking the Golan back from Israel so that the Americans can pump the Nest 3 oil find. She's in bed with Murdoch, Cheney, and now the Bushes are supporting her because of her vow to get the Middle East oil. And God's final anger, to me, as she attempts to split Jerusalem and take Golan through any kind of massive push at the United Nations. Just watch and see. When now she has the gall to stand before millions of Americans and say things like having a no-fly zone in Syria while Putin has made promises. This is going to break your heart, what I'm about to tell you next. That if we tried to take out Assad's troops for any reason, that Russia would now respond only with nuclear war. I'm about to get some real tomatoes thrown at me for what's next. Trust me. You can feel these tomatoes coming. Since that threat, by the way, Iran has fired missiles at U.S. ships thinking that we are weak and won't respond now that Putin has thrown down the gauntlet at Obama and Hillary. They do believe she is going to win. We can prevent that. I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't know what you're going to do. You're about to see things that you've never seen in your entire lifetime, watchers. Things of biblical proportions that will make men's heart just fail. It will be so serious. See aliens show up in the sky, nuclear war, tyranny unleashed on the masses that amount to whole-scale destruction of our very lives. I want you to remember to join us every Saturday on the Watchers Prophecy News and KW Radio, the very leading edge of Christian radio broadcasting. Now I'm going to switch gears, and we're about to get really serious. There is a consequence and a promise that I have been told about from Putin. They actually have this on recording. To the Russian president when he uttered during a tea time break at the summit with Indodra. Has been linked. This promise was so shocking that Indodra has now decided, as a NATO member, Turkey, to play both sides of the fence, since his nation is so near Russia, and that to spill the beans about this dire promise that Putin has made would indeed scare the citizens of the United States to face down the very fact Putin will do as he has said. I'm going to quote, "Pull the trigger if Hillary Clinton is winning Election Day." If this happens, we don't know, but you see, it's my opinion, and has been for many years, that also that of the 20-year-old Watcher Society is all in conclusion through our thinking that it would be a Russian sneak attack, a souped-up Pearl Harbor, and now I'm going to tell you how they're going to pull it off. I am. United States government paper from 2010 says people at ground zero have almost no chance. If you're a few miles away and you see a bright flash in the distance and the shockwave will hit you within seconds, keep your mouth open so that your eardrums don't burst out of your head and start running. You'll have about 10 to 15 minutes to escape the radiation. If you want to know how to make or find a bunker, get information on this as fast as you can. Have all your best go bag things with you and be ready to defend yourself from what I lovingly call level 1 zombies. These are folks that are in so much panic as the war starts to hurt you or your family or any of these people that would literally flip out and do crazy things like fly airplanes into your living room. Let me give you the details of some of these things. First, they all have this new satellite. America has one, Russia has one. The Russian one, I believe, is a little better. It's a satellite in space that detects submarines by their nuclear signature. And this radioactive signature, even underwater, can never be totally contained. Second, they will, by looking at our fitting past with Pearl Harbor, like I said, it will be a souped-up Pearl Harbor style attack. They're going to park 3 boomer submarines, these are missile submarines, off each United States coast, and 2 probably in the Gulf, maybe 3. Those will, at the proper time, launch submerged a attack of about 12 SLBMs apiece. Each of these will have 7 to 10 nuclear MRV warheads on just one missile. These things break apart in mid-level flight, and they return to disperse to independent targets so that they can either be set to detonate, airburst, or ground burst. And of these would be about 60 or more SLBMs and 10 more state busters all slam into the United States in about 4 minutes flat. Following Army installations will be immediately hit. There's been a lot of rumors about various targets and, this, you don't know about this target or that target, who they're going to hit. Folks, I have studied the current military situation, and these are definitely SLBM targets that I'm reading you tonight that will be hit in the first part of the sneak attack. It's going to catch most of our silos and most of us in states just to complete ashes, such as Fort Carson, Fort Hood, Fort Polk, Fort Jackson, Fort Benning, and even Fort Sill. The Air Force bases that will be hit will be McNeil, Tyson, Andrews, Lackland, Stardust, Nellis, Buckley, Peterson, Barksdale, Bakersfield, Luke, Edwards, Beale, Maxwell, and Kennedy. Each of these will get a 200 kiloton County Buster nuclear warhead ground burst. And the attack is then going to move into what the Russians refer to as a nuclear crunch. It's a nuclear crunch move, with 10 larger cities also being hit. These will be hit with the new Satan II SLBMs that are being loaded aboard a newer Russian boomer a few weeks ago. And these likely are going to designate many of these targets due to our ability to maintain any kind of manufacturing infrastructure, logistics, things like that. And I have a list of these cities: Dallas, Sacramento, Amarillo, Houston, Denver, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Boston, Miami, New York will each get a state buster. Everyone in ashes. Now, I know that sounds hideous. Folks, this firestorm coming will make all previous wars combined look like a video game. You can, if you should survive this most hideous fate of the nuclear fireball, and to realize you survived because you followed directions you knew were right. As soon as you realized a second sun, don't look at it. Next, hit the deck. Run like heck, hit the deck. As the next wave of vaporizing heat from the fireball erupts, this will carry up all things with it in the blast zone. Nothing will be spared. Next, you will be far enough, should you be far enough away from the initial fireball and survive, you'll still have to deal with the pressure wave coming. And let me tell you, let's say it will be like riding the pipeline out in Maui during a 50-footer. You're going to love that pressure wave. This blast wave will likely suck the air from the ground level into a Meshner-type fire that has cyclone properties. This wave can level skyscrapers, just for your information. So if you're still far enough out that you likely only suffer minor damage and happen to be that lucky, then you can expect the firestorm to be next. It's likely to be the one that gets you, as tons of matter that were carried up in the nuclear fireball that are on fire, literally bringing a piece of the sun to life on Earth, will rain down on you in a storm of debris that is not only radioactive, but catches everything it touches on fire, and will set more fires than you can even dare imagine in California fire season. You haven't seen anything yet. The whole point is that you should know that if you have taken good shelter, say in a small underground bunker by now, and sealed it shut and pulled your wool over yourself, and will still face at least the last effect of the fallout and effects from other sources of harm. In fact, many of these alone are so numerous that you can't even count them all. Gas tanks will explode, underground fires and explosions at gas stations, water main explosions, even dams and rivers being diverted in mere minutes after the attack, dams bursting, as 3 bombs were reserved for 3 of our largest dams, by the way, which are Fort Peck Dam, Fort Randall Dam, and the Orlisville Dam. Now, that leaves us only about 30 more warheads that will take out all the naval air stations and shipyards along the coast, as well as many other naval targets, and at least 12 naval air stations along our coast. When they are done with all this, they will detonate a second weapon, a satellite in space. It's referred to by the United States Tracking Command as USA Doomsat, overhead with a small Tsar bomb that will finish off the overall job and eliminate the United States of America. Now, should you still somehow survive, all of that's done. Next, the Russian ships will launch as naval targets, and our Navy being mostly all that is left, to attack with our submarines, and with Russia's current state of civil defense and readiness for population to be underground at the time of the blast, the time the United States retaliates, then they would win. As the Bible already makes it clear that 1/3 of life, about 3 billion folks, would simply vanish, setting the world back in population to the days of the Nephilim. Now we're approaching that time. Want you to be ready for anything. I think if they do this, they will do it during the time the television is on, and you're watching the election cycle and hearing the results coming in, and Putin will keep his word and nuke us if he believes that Hillary does indeed pull too far ahead. You can bet your last apple on that. That's my calculation. I'll probably be wrong, but if I'm not, that's the time they're going to pull it. Sure have this and other plans for nuclear wars. The Bible explains this is inevitable now, and now we are hearing some mainstream news come out and say that this is now also totally inevitable. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, it's disgusting, but I would give you 3-1 odds. You see, the Russians will indeed win a nuclear war. They were used to judge America, and Jeremiah 51 explains in detail our fate. Zechariah 5 tells us the weapons that they will also use. Even who is Shinar, the land of Shinar, the great mystery Babylon, the young lion, we will for sure suffer. And if about 300,000 survive in the United States, all of these blasts, out of a 350 million population in the United States, it will be a miracle. Now, Turkey on Tuesday morning warned the conflict in Syria will be the flashpoint for World War III as global superpowers both back opposing sides. And Odrin said, if this proxy war continues after this, let me be clear, America and Russia would come to a point of war. And then Deputy Prime Minister Numan Kurmanis told the Turkish news agencies that day that they expected it soon. Now, all these other doomsayers have been predicting an all-out nuclear war since the Enola Gay dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima in 1945. While the two giants become locked in this great Cold War, this new Cold War, 7 other countries have also become nuclear: Britain, France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. Now, according to the Federation of American Scientists, there are about 15,350 nuclear warheads in the world as of this month. 15,350 warheads. Think about that. More than 90% of which belong to Russia and the United States. 2 big boys on the block. All numbers are the maximum appropriate estimates, but the exact number of nuclear weapons in each country is indeed a national secret. And thus estimates are based on historical accounts and even some occasional links that I've gotten. If humanity does descend into another global war, there are a number of tricks that could actually maximize your chance of survival. And I want to share these with you tonight. However, no one knows if that means wiping out all life or destroying the earth altogether. When these things come, many will believe just that. Now, some scientists predict the tremendous amounts of smoke from repeated nuclear detonations would eventually block out the sun, creating a nuclear winter, which in case the only way to survive it all will be to go underground. A number of millionaires are already building up bunkers like the Atlas missile silo in Kansas, which can keep 70 people alive for 5 years with a hydroponic vegetable garden, enormous water tank generator, and wind turbine. However, considering Bikini Atoll is still unlivable right now, after 60 years after America's nuclear test there, they might need a new strategy. My advice is to have a small shelter underground for 2 to 5 folks, and supplies to last at least 3 months. Don't think you're going to need to be in there much longer than that. Having more won't hurt any, but you need to keep covered and concealed, and it's the only one option. The other deals you may have to run from, like the other aforementioned disasters, acts of God, things that will happen, dams breaking, to get out of where you're at very quickly. If your go bag is your friend, you're going to be okay. You'll need many things in your bag, and if you need help making one, look me up on the Watcher Society page on Facebook. Just look up the Watcher Society. You're going to find us. I will help you. I strongly recommend everyone that can hear my voice right now buy some at least minimal body armor. Not for anything devious, of course, but just to have body armor as your right as American citizens, and to know that one day you might need it. Yes, some of it's heavy and bulky, and it's not for everyone's taste, but if you take some practice in moving and wearing it around for a few days, get used to it, you'll find that you can do very much in it, and it will help you should any stray things come at you that it might happen to stop. Want you to have a change or two of clothing. Most don't have that in their packs. I highly recommend it, and some extra mosquito netting and other means of insect repellent out in the nature. If you think you're rough, go for it. Next, have gas masks and filters. You can't ignore this enough. I'd rather have even the ones that are odor style than none at all, but they're relatively cheap, as some as cheap as $19. A good cheap one that works well is made in the Czech Republic. Look for that during the Cold War era, and with the way they wrap their filters, they're very good, and they have kept well, and sometimes you can even get 2 for that price. Next, have thermal blankets in your pack. Research what the best fire dogs in America do that fight these massive wildfires all over the place, and how they survive in an emergency. Learn how to avoid running into a wildfire or being out in the woods where there is one. Next, have water with you. Can't stress this enough either. If you want to survive and you don't have water, you are going to die soon. Just pure and simple. Have water. It's going to be very bad during these times, and folks won't even give you the value of a drink for all the gold you have. Now, how to lay down in canyons and hide in rocks, reading maps, using a compass, making good shelter versus the weather, and the might of being able to hide from those hunting you. That's right, you will be hunted. Make sure you have guns and ammo and other means to protect yourself. Unless you are Bruce Lee, I suggest you get good with either a small crossbow that you can keep in your trunk, or with a firearm you're carrying on you, as I prefer. The level 1 zombies, as I said, these are folks who have thrown out their gold and silver and have literally gone stark raving mad, will attempt to loot mob or take anything they can get, as we've seen over and over again, Ferguson, everywhere else. Many of these will be sick and dying, and maybe not even knowing it. These folks will become desperate fast. And you should have shelter, even if you decide to shelter in home, because when these people run out, by definition, to become a level 1 zombie, when you run out, you'll come out fast, and you'll come out furious to get whatever you think you might have, so don't become a level 1 zombie. Great value is put on firearms here. You will need to learn how to shoot, learn how to have lots of ammo on hand for your weapon that you can use should you have to in those days to protect the most innocent of us all, the women, children, and elderly. Many are going to succumb to other things that are just as bad, if not worse. Sickness of all kinds of these little plagues will pop up. Another needed item is iodine pills for the next day death. You're not going to like that death. You'll get a burn spot, the sickness of puking out your guts and having diarrhea until you're dead. No, you don't want all that. You want to be prepared. So you have to have these K2 or K3 pills, or if you can't afford them, simply go to Walmart and get a bottle of Providine iodine to put in your bag. It will skin absorb. I take cotton balls to mine. This is the red stuff they use at surgery time that stains your skin. Either Providine or Betadine, brand names. It's very cheap, $6, $7, $8 a bottle. And you can use cotton swabs, as I said, even on small children, babies, all the way to elderly to protect their thyroid contact. If you will contact me on the Watchers, we'll even have a class how to apply that. But you can skin apply that, stripes on your body over a period of time that will skin absorb and protect your thyroid. Other needs will be good first aid kit with all the extra medicines you normally take. Having a good way to stop major bleeding and have enough water, again, more and more water to make sure that any kind of a medical event you can safely stay hydrated, because when you're sick it takes so much more water to get well. Now, some barter items you may want to pack could be extra ammo of small amounts that you don't have weapons for that others might. Food or anything that you can keep warm on a cold nights with might be good barter items. I don't think anything else will be. Shortly thereafter, and provided you have escaped all of these things and made it out to your point X-ray in the wilderness to survive, or wherever it may be, even in the place of your home, should you decide to stay there, what I call the harder core zombies will come out next. Now these are folks who were some prepared, but now has run out. They have better equipment, better gear, and have looted enough to survive. Now they come across you and your things that may also seem like a tasty treat. I call these level 2 zombies. They were a little better prepared. They were living by the week instead of by the day. Ones that the Bible say will be picking up through the ashes. These UN and Antichrist troops understand, since the Great Deception has came and stopped the war before all died, as the Bible says, we can expect it even to be alien technology looking around for our little bunkers and hiding places in the woods and rocks. These zombies are the real Walking Dead and are have been brainwashed. Almost every human in the United States has been brainwashed, hearing Walking Dead and understanding that soon these type of conditions will be just as dear, just as desperate, and to psychologically prepare them for that eventuality. It's going to happen. Then they're going to follow through with these words, and worlds of troops from other lands will jump in and help go through and kill all kinds of folks who are left. You can expect lots of large-scale rioting, looting, and killing. So now here you are, hopefully not found still, safe by the protection of God, and are able to understand that you must sometimes come out, as you can't stay underground for 3.5 years if the rapture does not come before the war. Many believe it will, and we'll debate that on another show. So you must spread the mission of the gospel to all you can who would listen to you. And know that this mission is the real mission, and the only reason you likely survive, because being prepared, as God said, for that coming of the thief in the night. Now next, you should still not be found in the bunker, and you're out of food and water. It is time to find safer ground. Now, there's not going to be much. You will be hunted, as I said. You can't do much, however, to help yourself. Look up ion cans, I-O-N, ion cans, and how to make one. Yes, it will make a nice science project for you engineering types, but it's a poor man's Geiger counter, and it will save your bacon and even tell you what bacon that you can eat. Ionized radiation, ionized things that are likely radioactive will alert you on this little gizmo, and you don't eat those things. You'll be able to avoid large pockets of radiation, hot zones. Next, you will need thinking that will later include having even seeds in your bag. Yes, seeds. You could probably survive by eating fish under the northern lights in Iceland, making the most of Switzerland's neutrality by holding up in some kind of fancy mountain chalet, or even hunting animals in remote parts of Canada, or setting up some kind of self-sufficient little farm at home if you're very crafty. Then comes whatever happened, we will band together, and like never before, the ones that can will resist the Antichrist in every way possible. Whether we're here or not, it is our duty to stand versus the evil and resist it with all we have, that we surrender to the real King of this world and ruler of everlasting heaven, Jesus Christ. Now, there are, of course, other options. All of them, from my perspective, all bad. And if you're caught up in the events that are coming, and you will be, mark me down, it's a fact, folks, like that you hear me weekly, that if you're going to most likely in nature survive, you have already known what God is planning, and that you are living in the entropy system, as I explained, the curse of Eden, designed so that Satan cannot even himself escape. Entropy will be vanquished in the end by God himself, and we will reign forever on the other side in perfect glory. I believe that Hillary and Bill Clinton, both insane, with a capital I. I believe they're demons, meant to plug us in the deepest depth of world war and what this world has never seen to date. She even has make it a point of her personal belief in front of millions that her globalist agenda was laid out at the last Bilderberger meeting for one world government, almost point for point. We seem to have a mindless masses attached to this world at the hip, to the telephone, while soon mushroom clouds will be in their backyards. The masses seem willful, politically stupid. They spend countless hours on supermarket tabloid type material, more worried about who's divorcing who or which Hollywood star got a makeover than national security or national debt or anything else. The average CIA-controlled media mongols have their airheads buried, whose mind can't get past the most basic pablum spewed out to them by any kind of celebrity. If you want proof, just watch one of their sickening daytime TV talk shows, and these no-talent clowns all support Hillary Clinton. This election, they are going to put in a lying, corrupt, treasonous thief and killer of children as President of the United States if we do not pray. Because in their simple minds, it is time for a uterus of power, no matter how scummy this woman actually is. Owner of this station said I wouldn't be inviting her for dinner. You're right, I'm not. The elites in America have decided to have this World War III. And Hillary was in the dream pushing for World War III. One of my latest dreams. In this dream, she continued to murmur and complain and hurt the military because they did not want World War III. They weren't insane. Since we've seen Obama fire how many officers and generals in the military? A lot. It's all part of his efforts to get ready for this great war. They've all been purging the military. Don't vote for Hillary if you want to live. They will all let us die while they hide in their little underground bunkers. Well, God's got a plan for them too. Putin and the Syrian forces will have the entire city of Aleppo under government control, I believe, in about 2 weeks. I have such problems with their names. The terrorist forces will be effectively cut into 2 pieces, I believe, and they'll divide and conquer. Finally, they'll encircle the city and literally bomb it into oblivion. This will all happen before the next American president is put into office, I believe. So hopefully for Hillary, a no-fly zone might just be too late. We can only pray. My dear listeners, we have God, and we're going to ride out the storm with Him. Thank you very much for listening to this show tonight. And God bless you wherever you may be. This has been Mars for the WPN. Good night. Escape, survive, and thrive.